Hey, Sam Sanders here with KCRW, personally inviting you to check out my new podcast. It's an entertainment show that tries to figure out what makes the culture tick and tell the stories behind creators we love. New episodes are out every Friday, wherever you get your podcasts.
Listen to The Sam Sanders Show, part of the NPR Podcast Network.
Hello and welcome to Car Talk from National Public Radio with us, Click and Clack, the Tappet Brothers, and we're broadcasting this week from the Department of Updates here at Car Talk Plaza. Now, here's a little update on an old issue that resurfaced due to a report broadcast a few weeks ago by CBS. What does CBS stand for anyway? Complete?
No. Columbia Broadcasting.
Some of you longtime listeners may remember that several years ago we made some untoward comments about Chrysler Corporation.
Which time are you referring to?
Well, at that time we were talking about the rear latches on their minivans.
Oh, yeah, those comments. I think my brother, that would be Raymond, he said something about how people were being thrown out of Chrysler minivans in all directions, out the back, through the front, out the hood, on the roof. He exaggerated. I admit. He exaggerated a little bit.
I don't think it was I who said that. Then my brother, Thomas.
That would be Raymond.
L. added that Chrysler was paying off NHTSA so they wouldn't recall the minivans.
I must have said they're probably paying.
No.
I must have said that.
I remember you said, I know. Those are the words. I know.
I know.
Said.
Well, but parenthetically, I was saying, I know in my heart. I not that I know in my head, because everyone knows I am, unencumbered by the... I knew in my heart that there was some sleaziness going on.
Well, you ticked them off because you said, I know they're paying off NHTSA, so they wouldn't recall the minivans. And what happens the next morning, the lawyers are on our doorstep.
Right, of course. And they forced us to apologize because they said that if we didn't apologize, they were going to sue our sorry butts. And we know that they have more money than we do. And in order to avoid their suing our sorry butts, we said we were sorry, even though in my heart, I wasn't.
Oh, gee. They're going to sue us again?
They're going to sue us again. Well, I mean, I can tell you what's in my heart. I mean, I apologized. In my heart. I knew in my heart.
Oh, I guess we agreed that there was no proof of a defect, and we apologized for suggesting that Chrysler had done anything illegal in regards to influencing NHTSA.
And now it turns out that CBS thinks...
Is this in your opinion?
Right. I mean, the reason CBS did the story was they were trying to show that Chrysler was trying to manipulate NHTSA into not making a recall.
Who claimed this?
CBS.
Not you.
Not me. Not me.
Oh, okay.
No, not even in my heart did I claim this. CBS thought that Chrysler was manipulating NHTSA. That's it. Chrysler, of course, says no.
No, and according to this report, Chrysler helped two congressmen who happened to set NHTSA's budget write nasty letters to NHTSA.
Yeah. I mean, I got the actual, what do you call this thing? The
memo.
Transcript.
The transcript.
There was a memo to Bob Eaton, the chairman of Chrysler at the time, addressed to him. And in the letter it says, we've been working on a letter with Hill staff. Hill staff.
Oh, Anita Hill.
And he says, I have no idea what that means, he says. It could be a person named Hill. Right.
Anita.
He's talking about Anita Hill.
Benny
Hill. Professor Harold Hill. Come on, in my heart. Yeah, well, anyway, we don't know. We're just bringing you up to date that's what's going on. And I think it would be nice if there is any proof that comes out of all of this, that we should demand that Chrysler make a public apology to us. We'll let them come right to the studio, and we'll let them sit right here in the studio and apologize to us personally.
I think it's a greater likelihood that their lawyers
will call us tomorrow morning. Oh, well.
Anyway, if you want to, well, it's just an update.
It's an update.
Nothing more.
That's our job. bring you the news.
We have no proof, and it's all just feelings. My brother has a lot of feelings. He's an emotion-filled guy.
I am.
and these are CBS's noids, not ours.
No. We're just reporting. That's
just-
all we're doing. So the Chrysler lawyers can just buzz off because we're just reporting.
Well, I guess so.
Yeah.
Anyway, if you want to report to us, our number is 1-888-227-8255. Hello, you're on Car Talk.
Hello, my name is Natalie Conrad. I'm from Oak Park, Michigan.
Hi,
Where
Natalie.
in Michigan are you from, Natalie?
Oak Park, it's just north of Detroit,
Ah, okay. You got
where
a
lots
Detroit.
of cars are coming from.
Do you have a Detroit kind of problem?
Well, we have a 92 Sunbird.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is that when we put on the rear defroster, it goes for a couple of minutes, and then, are you ready for a new noise?
A noise?
A noise. It goes like this.
Great.
That's to tell you your 3-minute eggs are done.
Yeah, loud, and doesn't stop, doesn't waver, doesn't change pitch or intensity. It just goes like that. So when you switch off the defroster switch,
It stops.
whether it's clear or not, it stops making the noise. When you put it on again after a few minutes, it will go for a little bit, and it begins to make the noise again, but in less time than it does the first time. So we've had it into the shop twice.
Yeah.
And something was said about a rear defroster relay, and he said he fixed the ground connection. And I tested it in the shop, but I think when they tested it in the shop, they probably didn't run it for more than a minute or so.
Probably not.
So we've got the same thing again.
Well, I mean, the relay is the only thing in that circuit that can make noise.
Well, the relay is also a timer. A lot of cars used to have a switch for the rear defrogger
The frog, yeah.
that you would turn on, and if you forgot to turn it off, the rear defroster would be on from like November to the next November.
Yes.
And in their wisdom, General Motors has put a timer incorporated into this relay so that the thing can't run for more than, I think, 20 minutes. You probably noticed that when it used to work right back in 1992. That if you
Well,
turned
we
the
know
thing on and you drove the thing for an hour, at some point you'd look down and the little light would be off.
Right.
And that was the thing working correctly.
Yes.
And I think what you're hearing now is the relay just going nuts.
Well, there's
But they replaced it.
No, they
Yes.
didn't. They replaced the ground wire.
Oh, they did not replace the relay?
I thought he said that he did.
Well,
Well, I have the repair order right in front of me here, and it says that he didn't. No, I don't know what they replaced.
I mean, if that's why I was expressing some dismay here, because if they replace the relay, there is nothing else in that circuit that can possibly make noise.
Okay.
I mean, electrons don't make any noise when they're running around those wires. They just
No, they do. They go, eh.
only if they confront the
You're
relay.
getting good at this. Okay.
Yeah.
So I think if they haven't replaced the relay timer unit, then that's what they have to replace.
Okay.
And my suspicion is that they turned the thing on for 3 minutes, during which time it didn't misbehave, and someone said, oh, I think this is a bad ground, or maybe they even found a bad ground. It's possible that the bad ground was responsible for burning the thing out in the first place.
Yeah.
I would like to see their faces when I tell them all this technical stuff.
Yeah. I mean, you're gonna
They are going to be impressed.
You just want to ask them, how come you didn't replace the relay when there you were? And you can say to them, and as we know, there's nothing else in the circuit that could possibly make this noise.
Yes,
And they'll say,
that
"Whoop."
sounds good.
They'll say, "Whoo, whoo, whoo."
Blind them with footwork, Natalie. And then when they're looking down at their shoelaces, hit them with a left.
Yes. Now, in the event that they have actually replaced the relay.
Tell them to replace it again.
Okay.
Good answer. See you, Natalie.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for your time and your help.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
1-888-CAR-TALK. That's 1-888-227-8255. Hello, you're on Car Talk.
Hello, this is Don from Springfield, Missouri.
Hi, Dawn.
How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good.
So what's up?
Well, I have a problem with a Chrysler LeBaron, a 1993 Chrysler LeBaron convertible.
Oh.
I am a service manager at a dealership, not a Chrysler dealership.
Oh.
Let me say ahead of time.
And you are working at a dealership and not driving the car from
No,
that
he's
dealership?
working on this one.
Well,
Oh.
no, this is not a customer. It's worse. It's my girlfriend's.
Ah, okay.
What happens is, as I'm turning into a parking space, right or left, as I turn the wheel about halfway through the turn, something seems to bind up. What I mean by bind up is that it's tight, And if I go ahead and pull the wheel to finish the turn,
It loosens.
you can feel it grab and loosen, and then it's okay.
Uh-huh.
Since we are not a Chrysler dealership, I've had a few guys that have looked at it, and maybe I shouldn't say this because I've heard that Chrysler has asked you all to apologize for earlier comments.
Yeah, I know, but
We love Chrysler.
after all, we do both drive Chrysler cars.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean-
I guess that's good then.
Yeah.
I don't know. But from what I've heard, this is a fairly common occurrence on Chryslers,
Really?
but I don't know if it's correctable. Maybe I shouldn't say that. I don't want to get myself in trouble with
Yeah,
people
what was
that
your
I-
last name there, Don?
You can say anything you want because we can blame it on you.
Well, there's a Chrysler dealer across the street, or I should say across the street, nearby. And
Yeah.
I have to work with them, so
Yeah. So you want to be nice.
yeah. I talked to somebody, and they thought maybe it was a CV joint. Now, I don't see how that's possible for it to bind up and then release.
Oh, it is possible.
That is possible because
it is
think
possible.
about what the CV joint is doing as you're making that turn.
Sure,
And it is definitely possible for that to happen.
but it's not making that clicking noise, which seems so common with.
Yeah, I know, but it
bad
might be
CV
getting
joint.
ready to.
Well, two other things come to mind.
Only
One,
one other thing came to my mind.
I'm amazed
Okay.
that it was even one.
What's the second one?
Well, I'll get to that in a minute. One of the things that came to my mind was the strut cushions, the bearings on top of the struts.
Oh, that didn't come to my mind.
I didn't think so.
I didn't think
One of those or both of those could be bad.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you, I had a Volvo in the shop recently that did exactly the same thing.
Really?
And it turned out, after much gnashing of teeth, so to speak, it turned out to be the rack and pinion.
Yeah.
But
Well,
the
that's,
steering gear, then, right?
Yeah.
that's what came to my mind.
Well, that's the first thing
rack.
I thought too. But how do I check that?
Well,
without
the way
going over here to-
the way we discovered it was we disconnected the tie rod ends so that we took everything else out of the equation. And then we had someone sit in the car with the thing on the lift, and we had him turn the wheel back and forth while we put upward pressure on the rack.
Oh, okay.
Okay, that part of the rack that extends out of the housing.
Yeah, absolutely.
And when we did that, we got the thing to bind up.
Okay.
That's
now,
what-
it only binds in one spot. Is that true? As you're turning left, you hit one hitch.
Left or right, but it's only one spot that it does it.
Yeah, I think it's a bad gear, a chipped tooth on the pinion gear. Mm-hmm. That's just my feeling, and I could be wrong.
Yeah,
But I would do that test.
Check the steering gear.
Yeah, I would
Okay.
check the steering gear, and furthermore, if it is the steering gear, it's something you want to find out right away because it could have dire consequences if it gets a lot worse. Mm-hmm. And how important is this girlfriend? Is she just serious?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
And does she date only mechanics to try to figure this problem out? Are you like the third guy she's been with?
this is like
No,
the king, and the king is trying to figure out who's going to marry his daughter.
Exactly.
Oh, I see it now.
That's right. That's the Lady and the Tiger deal. Exactly. And the guy who can fix her car will have my daughter's hand in marriage.
And a LeBaron convertible.
And a LeBaron convertible, absolutely.
Well, think about this a lot, Don.
Okay.
Good luck.
Thank you very much,
Bye
guys.
bye.
See ya.
Bye-bye.
All right, do you remember last week's puzzler?
No, I don't.
Well, I'll give you a clue. It has to do with a baseball team in Pittsburgh.
Of course. It had to do. Why do pirates wear a patch over their eye?
Holy.
That's it, isn't it? That's it.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll tell you something. I'll let you in on a little secret. I didn't remember what it was. I said, baseball team in Pittsburgh.
This message comes from Wise, the app for doing things in other currencies. With Wise, you can send, spend, or receive money across borders, all at a fair exchange rate. No markups or hidden fees. Join millions of customers and visit wise.com. T's and C's apply.
This is Ira Glass, the host of This American Life. So much is changing so rapidly right now with President Trump in office. It feels good to pause for a moment sometimes and look around at what's what. To try and do that, we've been finding these incredible stories about right now that are funny and have feeling, and you get to see people everywhere making sense of this new America that we find ourselves in. This American Life, wherever you get your podcasts.
These days, there's a lot of news. It can be hard to keep up with what it means for you, your family, and your community. Consider This from NPR as a podcast that helps you make sense of the news. 6 days a week, we bring you a deep dive on a story and provide the context, backstory, and analysis you need to understand our rapidly changing world. Listen to the Consider This podcast from NPR.
I'm Tanya Mosley, co-host of Fresh Air. At a time of sound bites and short attention spans, our show is all about the deep dive. We do long-form interviews with people behind the best in film, books, TV, music, and journalism. Hear our guests open up about their process and their lives in ways you've never heard before. Listen to the Fresh Air podcast from NPR and WHYY.
We're back. You're listening to Car Talk with us, Click and Clack, the Tappet Brothers. And as promised, here is the answer to last week's puzzle.
What was the question? I remember it had the... Oh, that was the actual question, wasn't it?
That was the question. I mean, if you remember...
Pirates have
started the thing off with the joke about the bird poop, how the guy lost his eye. It was the first day with me hook.
Yeah.
Right. And it basically, that was the question. If that's not the way pirates lost their eyesight...
Yeah, why do pirates always have so often have a patch?
Right, or even sailors. Don't have to be pirates, but sailors. Well,
Sailors.
if you think about it for a minute, before there was inertial navigation and LORAN and all that geopositional satellites and all that, sailors of old used to navigate by the stars.
Yeah.
Right?
We knew that.
Except during the daytime, there ain't no stinking stars.
I've noticed that too.
And they used to use the sun.
Which is what? A star.
Which is a star. Yes, it is. It's the only star that's visible in the daytime.
Yeah.
And because they were using the sun to navigate and looking at the sun and getting angles of elevation, so to speak, with a sextant, they would burn out their retinas.
Really?
Yes, as we know, if you stare at the sun, what happens to your eyesight? It gets cooked.
So the way they navigated was to figure out how far above the horizon the sun is? That just tells you what time it is, doesn't it?
Yeah, but they didn't have timepieces.
Oh, so someone says, "What time is it, matey?"
And you say, "Let me burn my retina out, and I'll tell you."
My retina, and I'll let you know. Or he says, "You mean now?" Yeah.
Come on, who's our winner? Come on, we're on a tight schedule.
All right. Yeah, we got 3.5 hours to do. The winner is Cheryl Jovel. Jovel.
I like Jovel better.
Jovel.
Even though that's not the right pronunciation.
Probably isn't, but it has a nice ring to it. She's from Largo, Florida, which must be near the Key. Largo.
I wouldn't go jumping to any conclusions.
No.
You
And
know
for
how you get us in trouble when you jump to conclusions.
And for having her correct answer chosen at random from among the thousands of correct answers that we got this week, Cheryl is going to get a copy of our new album, Men Are From GM, Women Are From Ford, and, of course, Lawyers, which we know are from Chrysler.
Yes, they are.
Tomorrow morning, we'll find out. It's a collection of calls about couples and cars, and we'll have that in your mailbox by Valentine's Day. Cheryl, don't you worry about a thing, in my opinion.
Anyway, we'll have a brand new puzzle coming up in the third half of today's show, so don't touch that dial. In the meantime, we'll take your calls at our brand new number, 1-888-CAR-TALK. That's 888-227-8255. Hello, you're on Car Talk.
This is Chris calling from Portland.
Which Portland, east or west?
Oh, east. Portland, Maine.
Oh, good. So what's up?
Well, I got an 86 Voyager. It's a 2.6, and this thing really idles fairly roughly, and it really stinks when it idles.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
And not only that, if I idle it for a long time, say at a long light, and then I take off, I'll get about 100 yards, and the car just dies.
Oh.
If I'm going fast enough, it'll pick up again and start. Otherwise, I have to pull over and start it up again.
This isn't your primary mode of transportation, is it?
Oh, sure.
Oh, yeah. For the winter.
Why?
You don't drive anything good in Maine in the winter.
What's your summer car?
A Healy. 67 Healy convertible.
Oh. My brother would rather talk about that, but understandably, you want the Chrysler problem solved.
Well, yeah, the carburetor it's had 5 carburetors on it. 4 of them were remanufactured carburetors that were absolutely bogus from 2 different companies. And the carburetor new is like $900 on these. It's a Mikuni carburetor.
Yes, I'm very familiar with it.
Well, most of the mechanics I talk to just kind of their eyes bug. They make the sign of the cross and they start backing away and shaking their head, and they don't want to deal with this thing.
When the thing finally warms up, is it okay?
Yeah, it's better when it warms up, and it's certainly the choke is really bad on it as it warms up very rough.
Well, if you were to artificially open the choke when it's doing this, if you were to just take the air cleaner cover off and stick your finger in there, would it run beautifully if you did that?
It never runs beautifully.
Well, I mean,
Would it run better?
It runs better,
Speaking
yeah.
relatively.
It probably be better, but it always smells
better.
whether it's warm or not.
Well, here's my theory on the matter.
All right.
Do you... I have to ask the question, even though I know you're going to give the wrong answer, but we may be able to edit it out.
The truth will set you free.
Ooh, I hope so.
Do you, for the most part, drive this thing around town with
No.
an
How's that?
He mostly drives it on the highway every day, about 100 miles.
Oh, yeah. Well, more than that.
More than that.
Hey, I do courier work. This thing
There
has
goes
tons of
answer
miles.
B. We're going to have to come up with a new one. Let's see. How about that choke pull off?
Well, it could be.
Could be the choke pull off.
Well, here's what I thought, and I still think it, although I'm trying to figure out how...
No. Don't even suggest it because it's wrong.
No, it isn't wrong.
You don't think so?
No, I don't think so.
All right, go for it.
I asked the question, but I was doing it tongue-in-cheek because
Yeah.
I knew
You
it
know.
didn't make any difference what the answer was.
Oh.
I think the secondary throttle is not closing all the way, and that's why it runs crummy and it belches smoke and it smells.
It's
and
running very rich.
because
all the time.
Here's how you're going to find it out. If you take that air cleaner cover off, you will see that there are two barrels to the carburetor.
Mm-hmm.
The second barrel is the one without the choke. If you stick a long, skinny, very, very skinny screwdriver in there, you will be touching the secondary throttle plate.
Mm-hmm.
If you push it in one direction, the engine will run much faster. If you push it in the other direction, you'll close it, and the thing will run like a dream.
Really?
No, not really, but...
Well, hopefully.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
The other possibility is that you no longer have an EGR valve that's working correctly. It's stuck open.
Now, would that make it stall?
Yeah.
It would.
Stall, stink, smell, shake, shimmy. All the S's.
Because the plumbing around this thing is pretty squirrely, and everybody's had it attached in different ways trying to remedy this.
Well, check out that secondary throttle, and then if that doesn't work, check out the EGR valve.
I'm pretty sure the EGR valve is either shot or non-existent.
Oh, yeah, it probably rusted off 5 years ago. Good luck, Chris. But that
All right.
one of those two things is going to solve your problem.
All righty, we'll check into it.
All right.
Good
guys.
luck.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Hey, do you know what it's time for?
Time to apologize to Chrysler already? Wow, that was fast.
No. It's time to play Stump the Chumps. Now, as you know, Stump the Chumps is that part of our show where we bring back a previous caller
From the dead, usually.
From the dead or from the lawyer's office and find out whether the advice we gave was any good or was it the usual bogus nonsense that we spew out from day to day.
Well, anyway, who's this week's chump stumper, Tommy?
This week's contestant is Mary from Albuquerque, New Mexico. Mary is an archaeologist out there in the desert, and she called about a ticking noise in her 89 Dodge Colt Vista, and I vaguely remember Mary.
Oh, yeah, and she had apparently decided that this was really a big deal.
Then why'd she call us?
Beats me, but we tried to put Mary's mind at ease.
You know, these little flashbacks always put my mind at ease, you know?
If your mind were any more at ease, you'd be dead.
It's really simple. Should I have known about
And
this?
as soon as you step on the gas,
It goes.
goes away.
Right. Tell me I don't need to buy a new timing belt.
No,
No,
I
you
don't.
don't need to buy a new timing belt, no.
Oh, good.
No, I don't think so.
You need to buy a new engine.
Oh, come on.
Well, I mean,
Well, we certainly put her mind at ease, I guess, huh?
Well, eventually we told her that the ticking she was hearing from the engine wasn't valves or lifters or anything like that.
It wasn't? How did we know that?
Well, we didn't. We were just trying to put her mind at ease, remember?
That's right. Actually, you figured out that the ticking noise might not really be ticking
No.
at all.
I guessed.
Oh, you guessed?
Guessed.
I thought it was brilliant.
Yeah, well.
Because as soon as you said it, I could hear it. You said it was short bursts of an exhaust leak. Like you said somewhere like in the exhaust manifold or maybe around a loose spark plug.
Yeah, pretty good, huh?
I thought it was pretty good. Mary, are you there?
I am.
Hey!
Hi.
Before you say anything else, we have to ascertain that the statements you are about to make here on Stump the Chumps are true, and you are in no way being influenced by promises of cash or prizes made by producers, National Public Radio, or the Teamsters Union, or Chrysler Corporation. Is that correct, Mary?
That is.
Okay, so was my brother right or what?
Actually, he was.
Oh!
Bless you, my child. Bless you. May you always walk in front of the camel in the procession of life.
See, that's very good. Where was it? Was it a spark plug or was it the manifold?
It was several of the spark plugs.
Several of the spark plugs?
They were just loose.
Yeah, and an archaeologist buddy of mine just tightened them all and showed me how to do it, so now I know how to do this.
Jeez.
And it went away like magic.
No kidding.
But 2 months later, the timing belt broke.
You even said, please tell me that I don't need a timing belt.
Exactly.
You did.
Yeah.
Well, this is the...
I'm going to cry.
Oh, don't cry.
Well, just because it's the first answer he's got right in a month.
Oh, that's so wonderful.
Well, I'm happy for us all.
I am, too.
I'm happy for you because it was relatively simple. I'm happy for my brother because he's crying.
Because he's relatively simple.
And I'm happy for me, and I don't know why.
So how is the archaeology business? Any turned up anything, so to speak?
Yeah. Actually, the summer is the best time to get work out here. Worked on a couple of sites this summer, and it did great after the spark plugs were adjusted. You really put my mind at ease.
Cool.
If you ever run across any of my brother's relatives buried out there in the desert, let us know.
No comment.
Thanks, Mary.
Thank you.
See ya.
Good luck.
Okay, now, before we get to the new puzzler, we have to take a short break.
Yeah, I mean, I'd take a break if I were you. The headphones are really doing a job on your hair.
Fall in love with new music every Friday at All Songs Considered, that's NPR's music recommendation podcast. Fridays are where we spend our whole show sharing all the greatest new releases of the week. Make the hunt for new music a part of your life again. Tap into New Music Friday from All Songs Considered, available wherever you get your podcasts.
The scary new movie Sinners from the director of Black Panther finds Michael B. Jordan playing twin brothers. It's got vampires, it's got great music, and it's a fun one to see with a big crowd.
This is the most excited I've been about a movie in a very long time.
We'll tell you why you should see Sinners on the biggest screen you can. Listen to the Pop Culture Happy Hour podcast from NPR.
Tariffs, recessions, how Colombian drug cartels gave us blueberries all year long. That's the kind of thing the Planet Money podcast explains. I'm Sarah Gonzalez, and on Planet Money, we help you understand the economy and how things all around you came to be the way they are. Para que sepas. So you know. Listen to the Planet Money podcast from NPR.
Great conversation makes for a great party. But how do you ask the questions that really make the room come alive? Well, here at Life Kit, we got you.
What is a path you almost took but didn't?
On our latest episode, how to ask the magical questions that'll make your party sparkle. Listen to the Life Kit podcast from NPR.
Hi, we're back. You're listening to Car Talk with us, Click and Clack, the Tappet brothers, and we're here to discuss cars, car repair, and, of course, the new puzzler.
I can hardly wait.
Well, I wouldn't attach that much weight to this.
America sits by their radios week after week, waiting.
And you don't know how that weighs heavily on my mind.
I do.
Every week I have to come up with a quasi-acceptable puzzler, something that will challenge
That's right.
the 7 Americans that listen to our show.
An awesome responsibility.
It is. And I can't do it anymore.
Especially when there's one that is, as you say, this one is quasi-automotive, and someone comes in saying, yes, master. Yeah, go for it, man.
Okay, let me see. I'll have to phrase it correctly.
Yeah.
In what famous movie were a Ferrari and a Renault both featured?
A Ferrari and a Renault. Featured roles, yeah.
And I might add that these weren't just passing scenes. I mean, these were featured.
Yeah, they weren't just like drive-ons.
Right.
Exactly. These were featured prominently.
In many scenes.
Prominent.
Almost every scene in the movie, one or the other was in it.
A Renault and a Ferrari.
There you go. Now,
Excellent.
if you think you know the answer, or you just have nothing to do at work and feel like ticking off your boss, mail your answer to Puzzler Tower, Car Talk Plaza, Box 3500, Harvard Square, Cambridge.
Our fair city.
Matt 02238. Or, of course, you can email us your answer from our website, cartalk.msn.com. Just click on the Talk to Car Talk section.
And what if we choose their correct answer from a random from among the thousands of correct answers that we get? Will they get anything?
Yeah, they'll get our brand new album called Men Are From GM, Women Are From Ford, and of course we know that lawyers are from Chrysler, or we will know on Monday.
Yeah.
And you'll get it just in time for Valentine's Day.
1999. Yeah.
If you want to call us, the number is 1-888-CAR-TALK. That's 1-888-227-8255. Hello, you're on Car Talk.
This is Elsa from Iowa City.
Elsa?
Retired professor of anthropology, and I have a quasi-automotive problem.
Ah, excellent.
Well, my problem is that I don't have a car. Now, I don't want you to hang up.
Of course not.
I do have a car problem.
Really?
Well, the problem is that I'm going to be 70.
Yeah.
And I did learn to drive. My dad taught me when I was 12. And I drove from 12 to 15 in a state which didn't really care whether you had... I don't even think that there were such things as driver's licenses.
You were raised in New Jersey?
They still don't have a driver's license law there.
Well, anyway, the story is that I've never really had a need for a car because I was in graduate school, couldn't afford one. I lived in New York, and you're a fool if you have a car in New York. And then I worked overseas a lot and didn't want to store a car.
So you haven't
now
driven?
I want a car.
You haven't driven since you were 15 years old?
Well, no, I haven't driven since I was 15.
And that would be, I just did the calculations here,
Yeah.
1943.
Yeah. Yep.
Wow.
Yep. So the thing is that Iowa City, I did a little poll of my friends, and they're about evenly divided.
Yeah.
Some say you're going to be a menace. And some say, oh, well, sure, you should drive, considering the fact that in Iowa City, a traffic jam is 8 cars at a stoplight.
Yeah.
So my problem is I want to know what you all think. And since you're both terrible drivers, at least according to each brother.
I mean, we can safely assume you certainly sound like you're alive and well.
And alert.
And you don't have any major physical problems. You can see and hear, and your reflexes are pretty good.
Yeah, I got both arms.
You got both arms, and
Both
you if you swear never to talk on a cell phone while you drive, then I think you're absolutely entitled to drive.
Yeah. Well, one of my best friends said she would not only teach me again, but she would ride with me.
Oh, she's a fool.
That's a
Yeah,
friend.
and I want very much to be able to drive to my croning ceremony. Now, a croning ceremony is when you're declared
An
a
official
wise
crone.
old woman at 70, and a friend in Wisconsin is going to hold a croning ceremony for me. So I want to amaze all my friends by driving to my croning ceremony.
In Wisconsin?
Yep.
What's the time frame here between the croning and the and
now?
April 17th.
Oh, you got a lot of time.
No,
Yeah.
you're pressed. I'd start right now.
Yeah, no, she's got time. She can do it. Oh, April.
Don't forget, you've got to take the learner's permit test, the written test. You have
Oh.
then you have to learn how to drive. Then you must take the driving test, and you may flunk it a few times.
Uh-huh.
You don't know, and then you've got to practice.
It's not like roller skating or riding a bicycle that
Well-
if you knew how as a child.
But
you
don't
could
forget,
get by again.
at age 15, I don't know how much driving you did at age 15, but it
I did
probably
a
wasn't
lot.
much.
I did a lot of driving.
You did?
Out on the highways, too.
See, I mean, you're gonna
Oh.
be amazed at how much simpler everything is now and how much better and easier it's gonna be. You're gonna be shocked. But I mean, you've been in cars, so you know.
Well, yeah, I have been.
But you haven't driven one, and cars practically drive themselves now.
Uh-huh.
I mean, they really do. It's amazing.
You don't think my reactions will be too...
No, you'll learn. I would just make one suggestion, that you go to a driving school.
Uh-huh. And not learn from a friend.
Yeah, I mean, she may have as many bad habits as my brother has.
Goodness, I hope Maureen isn't going to be really offended.
No, I don't think Maureen should be
No,
offended. She offered, I'm sure, in a
She
weak
did
moment.
offer, and she was the one that said she'd ride with me.
Yeah, she offered in a weak moment, I think, but given the opportunity, she'd back out in a heartbeat. Plus, if you go to the driving school, they'll know the right procedure for bribing the guy that gives the test and all that, so you'll be sure to get your license.
Yeah.
Well, you see, I'm one of those strange people that don't have a car but listen to you because I think you're so funny.
Well, now you'll be able to listen to us and drive around at the same time, talk on your cell phone, drink coffee, and read the newspaper. I mean, what the heck?
But remember, above all, don't drive like my brother. Good luck,
Oh, my
Elsa.
gosh.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Great.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
1-888-CAR-TALK. That's 1-888-227-8255. Hello, you're on Car Talk.
Hi, guys. This is Helen from Oakland, California.
Helen.
Hi.
How are you?
How you doing?
I'm doing fine. How about you?
All right, a
not bad.
nice simple name. You don't run into too many women named Helen.
In general or from California?
In general, or especially from California.
California, there are none.
Is yours spelled the traditional way?
It is. No Y's.
No Y's.
Umlaut.
One L.
And no L's.
It's a silent L.
A silent L. Yeah. So where are you really from, Helen?
Actually from across the bay, just south of San Francisco.
Really?
Cool.
Yeah.
So what's on your mind today?
Well, it's my 1976 Toyota Celica.
Oh.
Aside from the panel of the sort of so-called idiot lights on the dashboard that say oil, brakes, check engine,
Yeah.
I have another display. And this is located under the radio, sort of behind the stick shift. And it's a digital LED readout that forms and flashes words. It displays words like battery, radiator, vac booster.
Yes, I remember this.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a little system check thing. It would periodically go through all those things. It would check to see if you still had a battery, if you still had coolant in the radiator.
Yeah, it's lining wear, brakes.
Right.
Boy, what technology they had back then in 76, huh?
Wow, I thought it was really sophisticated
Yeah,
when I saw this thing.
It is pretty cool.
The problem is that it's constantly displaying these words, and the words change.
Yes.
And
As you're driving along, you're getting little messages.
Exactly. It says battery, vac booster, battery radiator,
Yeah.
battery radiator, brakes,
Yeah.
engine lining wear, brakes, battery.
Yeah. So
And it's driving you nuts?
Well, I think it's a hazard because I'm
sure.
watching what it's doing,
It's dangerous.
thinking something's
Yeah,
wrong.
you are a prime candidate for the Click and Clack black tape approach to displays.
That was exactly what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
But I thought I should figure out if my mechanic says it's no problem, but I figured they put the lights in there for a reason.
Well, they did originally, and
Yeah,
it wasn't to annoy you. It was really to check all those systems. But I'm sure this thing has gone awry or went awry eons ago.
Uh-huh.
So I think I could feel confident in saying that you should either black tape it or unplug it.
I can do that.
Yeah, you can do it yourself.
You can unplug it. I mean, the time to worry is when it starts to say, "Hi, Dave." You seem to be upset, Dave.
I'll watch for that.
Then you'll know that something's bad.
Quite honestly, what's preferable to the black tape or unplugging it is someday with the point of one's umbrella that you smash in the face of this thing when it has driven you crazy for what you consider to be the last time.
Yeah, you do deserve to get even.
Yeah, you won't
That
get
would
any.
be rather cathartic and
It would be. See, but
joyful.
putting the black tape over it does, in fact, cover things up, of course. So
But it
that,
doesn't really
but
shut it off.
But it doesn't shut it off, and you probably will begin to realize that despite the black tape being there, those little messages are still there.
Sure.
They're still appearing, getting sucked up by the black tape.
And it's only a matter of time before those photons burn through the black tape, and you'll be able to see radiator, booster, and all that stuff at night.
Now, even if you don't see them, you'll know they're there, and one of these days you'll get out of the car screaming.
Well, I think since it's raining so much and I have my umbrella with me pretty much constantly.
This is the time to do it.
Yeah.
You don't know how good it will make you feel to just stove in that little display. You will feel great.
Okay.
Like I did that day. I smashed that temperature gauge on my Dodge van.
Yeah.
You don't know how gleeful I was.
And you've never looked back.
Well, I never looked back because I bent the little needle to the middle, and forevermore it read normal. And I drove it for 5 more years like that, and it was fine. And I realized it was driving me crazy, and the best thing to do when something is driving you crazy is to eliminate it.
Yeah, I mean, when a tree falls in the forest and there's nobody there to hear it, does it really fall? Just like if a radiator is overheating and there's no little gauge to tell you, is it really overheating?
Oh, yeah. Trust me.
Not until the engine seizes.
Smash it in, Helen.
Okay.
See ya.
Thanks a lot. Happy New Year.
Same to you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Well, it's happened again. You vaporized yet another hour listening to Car Talk. Our esteemed producer is Doug, the subway fugitive, not a slave to fashion Berman. Our associate producer and dean of the College of Auto Musicology is Ken Babyface Rogers. Our assistant producer is Catherine Cathode Ray. And Oyster Stew Ray, what is that, Catherine? Oyster Stew. And our engineer is Jonathan Marston. Our technical, spiritual, and menu advisor is Mr. John S. Waller. Our public opinion pollster is Paul Murky of Murky Research, assisted by statistician Margin of Error. Our director of new product repair is Warren T. Myfoot, assisted by our customer care representative, Haywood Jabuzzoff. Our staff butler from the Car Talk Mumbai division is Mahat Makot. From the New Delhi office, our blues coordinator is Mohammedan Tolmi. Our document security expert from the island of Jamaica is Euripides Upman. Our East Asian used car expert is Alexander Solzhenitsyn. And our inventory manager is Mandalit Del Barcode. Our evasive driving instructor is Vera Brupley. Our junkyard manager is Ricardo Dismantelbon. Our director of moral support is Hugh DeMann. And our Leo Tolstoy biographer is Warren Peace, author of Leo Tolstoy by Warren Peace. Of course, our chief counsel from the law firm of Dewey, Cheatham & Howe is Hugh Lewis Dewey, known among the icicles in Harvard Square as Huey Louie Dewey. Thanks so much for listening. We're Click and Clack, the Tappert Brothers, and don't drive like my brother or my sister.
And don't drive like my brother or my sister.
We'll be back next week. Bye-bye.
And now with a very important announcement, here is Car Talk Plus's chief mechanic, Mr. Vinny Gumbats. Vinny?
All right, now, if you want to copy it, this week's Car Talk show, which is show number 4, is what you're going to do, all right?
Are you now going to give people the phone number, Vinny? Is that the idea?
No, I'm going to redo my upholstery in AstroTurf, you moron. The number is 1-888-CAR-JUNK. That's 888-227-5865.
And if somebody wanted our album, the one that's called Men Are From GM, Women Are From Ford, the calls about couples and cars, would they use the very same number, Vinny?
No, you'd call dial-a-prayer. Of course you call the same number, 888-CAR-JUNK. Or you can get stuff through the online Shameless Commerce division at cartalk.msn.com.
Hey, Vinny, I'm beginning to detect a little hostility here. I mean, we've got to talk about our relationship.
I relate this. Car Talk is a production of Dewey, Cheatham & Howe and WBUR in Boston.
And even though Robert Siegel gets a touch of heartburn whenever he hears us say it, this is NPR, National Public Radio.
When the Star Wars prequels came out, they were polarizing. Many fans of the original trilogy hated The Phantom Menace, Attack of the Clones, and Revenge of the Sith, though many younger fans loved them then and love them still. So we're rewatching them with fresh eyes 20 years later, from Jar Jar Binks to the climactic no that broke the internet in half. Listen on NPR's Pop Culture Happy Hour podcast.
Keeping up with the news can feel like a 24-hour job. Luckily, it is our job. Every hour on the NPR News Now podcast, we take the latest, most important stories happening, and we package them into 5-minute episodes so you can easily squeeze them in between meetings and on your way to that thing. Listen to the NPR News Now podcast. Now.
Conductor Robert Franz says a good melody captures our attention.
And then it moves you through time. Music is architecture in time. If you engage in the moment with what you're listening to, you do lose a sense of the time around you.
How we experience time. That's on the TED Radio Hour from NPR.